very short part, and it's the scene is where the main character Mackenzie is talking. They're laying actually out on a dock, and he's laying on the dock next to Jesus, and they're looking at the stars, and they've just had something funny that's occurred to them, and they've laughed a lot. This is early on, and eventually they both calmed again, and the night's quiet asserted itself once more. It seemed that even the frogs had called it quits. Mac lay there, realizing that he was now feeling guilty about enjoying himself, about laughing. And even in the darkness he could feel the great sadness roll in and over him. "Jesus," he whispered as his voice choked. "I feel so lost." A hand reached out and squeezed his, and didn't let go. "I know, Mac, but it's not true. I'm here with you, and I'm not lost." And in that little picture you have sometimes how we feel in terms of our relationship with God. And the beauty is that God doesn't abandon us to our pain. And even though we get lost inside of it sometimes, we're not forsaken in it. And we always have the company of three. And the book revolves around the kind of pain that exists in so many of our lives. And the metaphor of the shack as the house of the soul, the house on the inside, that people help us build, and then we continue to build through our own addictions. It's where we hide all our addictions, and our secrets are kept in the house on the inside, the shack. I have 6 kids. My youngest is almost 16. And I've always written as gifts. Gifts of one sort or another. Poetry, songs, short stories, whatever. And Kim, my wife, had been asking me for about 4 years if I would put in one place how you think because you think outside the box, sort of thing. And so in 2005, my whole goal was to write this story that I could wrap around things that I think about and believe for my kids, get it done by Christmas. And we didn't have enough money to print it before Christmas, but after Christmas we did. So the first and only intended run of the shack was 15 copies at Office Depot in Gresham, Oregon. My friends kept giving it away to their friends, and eventually, because of the kind of emails I was getting, I sent it to a man who was the only real author I knew. In fact, he's a graduate of ORU in Tulsa, and I sent it apologetically, and he immediately sent it to his friends, and that started a conversation, and we got it ready for publication. 26 publishers turned it down, and we then, two of the guys created a publishing company, and we pooled our resources. One of them had some savings, one had a Visa and a MasterCard, and I had a friend who loaned me money. And we put it on a website, put up had a drop ship to the garage because nobody would publish it, and sent out a bunch of copies, and then people started showing up, and it was a grassroots thing. We went through that garage, or through the local printer, over the first 13 months. We went through over 1 million books and spent less than $300 in marketing and advertising. That's a God thing. When I wrote the story, there's a section in the book about forgiveness, because part of a central issue that many of us have to deal with is forgiveness, either from the perpetrators of the pain in our lives or from situations that have happened that people have orchestrated. And forgiveness becomes really critical to our healing. And so there's this pretty extended conversation between Papa, who is the God character, and Mackenzie, who's the main character in the book. And I wrote it from Mackenzie's point of view, from my point of view. And so there's a kind of a conflict between Mackenzie because of his loss, and he's in a little bit of conflict with God, because God is communicating to Mackenzie that he cares even about the perpetrator. Well, see, what I didn't expect, because I was writing this story for 6 kids, my wife, some friends, that this book would be out there in the millions, and it would be in prisons. And people are reading the forgiveness section from the perpetrator's point of view. And suddenly they're hearing God argue on their behalf that he still has care for them, and it's opening up people in the prison systems in a way that I could have never anticipated. It's a beautiful thing. So, you know, it's the encouragement of friends, it's their willingness to be a part of this, and to me, behind it all, there's a God who's decided, you know what, I'm going to use this to touch the hearts of people, and that's exactly what's happened.